worse and worse and worse and more spiraling.
Right.
You know, PTSD is really starting to play into this, right? And he had hernia surgery. And that's really where it all started. You know, he convinced the doctor that he needed Percocets. And, you know, nothing's, you know, the stuff that they use to knock you out when you go into surgery, whatever that drug. Yes. Well, they had to give him a crap ton of it to actually knock him out because he kept coming out of it. So he's coming off of that. They're giving him Percocet, and he ended up doing something with the Percocet because he didn't want anything to do with it anymore, and he didn't want to become addicted to it. However, he kept drinking. He was smoking. You know, he had a friend of his that was going through a hard time in his marital, so he invited him to stay with us. And this is where it all takes a turn.
And then
so
the friend moves in.
So I knew that this was a bad decision.
I don't think it was a bad decision.
They were in the garage, and they were both doing something, you know, whether it be like drinking alcohol or smoking weed or taking the cough syrup out of the cupboard that I didn't even know about. And I go to soccer. I take my kids to soccer. They had a soccer game. And I came home.
She gets home from the soccer game.
I get home from the soccer game, and they're both at the house. And his friend is frantically looking for his keys, and he can't find his keys to his car. And I hear him on the phone, and he's saying that he's got to go. He's got to get out of here. And I'm like, what in the hell is going on?
That one trip he never took.
I had taken his gun earlier in the day and moved it and hid it because I wasn't okay with his behavior, and it was making me nervous.
Little did she know.
So he comes into the bedroom and he goes, "Where's my gun?" And I'm like, "I don't know. What did you do with it? Why do you need your gun?" And he's like, "I got to do something. I got to take care of something." And I'm like, "Well, what do you got to take care of? Why do you need your gun?" And he's like, I just got to do something." At that point, I walk out to the garage and I looked at his friend and I said, "What have you guys been doing tonight?" I was like, "Both of you are out of your minds."
Before you get any further, let's take a step back. Now, you told me something before that he would be doing certain things.
Oh gosh, he was paranoid out of his gourd. He had gotten his army box out of the garage and was like walking around our property, like, and he closed all of the blinds, and he thought the cops were coming after us, and he was like surveilling our property thinking that people were going to come and get us. And oh yeah, he was acting all sorts of like.
Was he using anything else? Did you not know? This sounds like me on meth.
That's what I said.
Yeah, just wait.
He'd be crawling around with binoculars in the yard.
And I don't know if it's the Percocet or the Propofol or that he's coming off of. I don't know. It is just messed up. So then I asked, his friend, what had they been doing? He says, "Nothing. I've done nothing tonight, I promise." And I'm like, that's not right. And so I'm trying to call 911 because at this point I'm terrified. I don't know what's going on. My ex-husband grabs a knife out of a butcher block and walks outside and kills him in my driveway. Yep.
Jesus Christ.
And he was determined that, the last thing he said to me was he's going to kill our kids. So he was convinced that his friend was going to kill our kids. So I walk outside. I knock my husband off of him. I notice that he's gone. He's not coming back. And meanwhile, my husband's in the yard yelling and screaming. He's an angel. He's going to come back to earth. He's not dead. He's, angels and devils and whatever's coming out of his mouth.
Jesus Christ.
So I walk inside. I lock all of the doors. I take my kids up into the rooms and lock the doors as I'm, walking behind me. I'm, my one arm is, covered in blood, and my son is like, what is on you, Mommy? He's 5. And I'm like, oh, it's just marker. Don't worry about it. And I, go in the bathroom and, wash my hands. Meanwhile, there's, blood all the way throughout the house of me opening the doors and stuff. And, I mean, even, going back and watching, the body cams and stuff, He was just like, there was no emotion. Like, there was nothing. You could see right through his eyes.
There's nothing there.
There was nothing. And even the body cams of them arresting him, like, they told him to stop, like, turn around and then walk back. Well, he started, like, running backwards. And the only thing that they could do was, I mean, it took, like, 3 different tasers to take him down. I mean, he's lucky he didn't get shot. You know? And there was, like, off-duty cops, like, walking through our neighborhood trying to get him because he took off. So...
Yeah.
Okay, well, I didn't expect that, but heavens.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So now, then, you know, we go through trial. It takes us a year to go through trial, and then the jury finds him guilty of manslaughter due to a mental illness.
PTSD, addiction, everything plays into the situation that you went through.
Yep. So now, being a spouse of an addict, you know, and... you know, it's taken me 4 years to, like, literally get my life back together, get my feet back underneath me, get to a place that, I'm okay talking about it and being open about it and being open with my experiences, you know, but now it's time to make a difference in the community and take my experience and put it to good use. Because if I don't, then what is the purpose of me going through that?
Right. I mean, that's terrible. I'm sorry this happened. This is about my story. I was picked up on a murder charge.
Oh.
5 years ago. We'll stop there. This isn't about me. This is about you. I'm sorry that happened, but like you said, what good is it if you just sit back and do nothing about it? If you can give back and, you know, help somebody with a mental illness and an addiction, and now you're paying it forward, you're giving back, you're helping people that are in a situation to prevent maybe a situation like that happening in their life that you went through. Holy cow. Well,
and I think that's why it's so important to me to put together support groups for people, you know, spouses and family members and friends to come and get their resources, because my thing is I want to be the inspiration that I needed 5 years ago. Right. And so in order for me to do that, I need to put these groups together, and I need to become a support system. I need to be out in the community, and I need to be talking and giving the resources and, you know, being active, because I wish I knew that it was okay to reach out for help.
Right.
Instead of, like, living inside my 4 walls and feeling like a prisoner in my own life.
They say the shoe on the other foot. You were just the other foot. You know, you were the other side of the situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow. Yes.
So, I mean, you know, you've got your perspective of being the addicts and, like, going through that and, like, getting to the other side. And then, you know, you talk about your mom and the things that she's gone through. You talk about your mom and the things that she's gone through. You know, it's all different perspectives. And, you know, I think, you know, if you are a... hold on.
Who's this?
I don't know.
Answered on the...
Yeah, no.
Okay. So yeah, the different perspectives, and yours is definitely very unique. But from the sounds of it, and because you said he tested negative for drugs.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they took him to the hospital after it was all said and done. You know, this happened at like 7 o'clock at night. They take him to the hospital and draw his blood at like 1 o'clock in the morning. And there was nothing in his system.
Wow. So this was just pure PTSD, trip back, whatever.
Well, either that or he just metabolized it so fast, you know.
And then it kind of sounded like if he was drinking coughs or if he was grabbing everything. And
and there was Adderall involved.
Somebody could have came over with something like, hey, do some of this. And next thing you know, and sometimes I know people that have done meth and they're talking about demons and stuff for days. Like after the drugs probably out there, but they're messes your brain up so bad.
Were you there when I came back?
No.
Oof, good God.
But
that was terrible.
You know, if they would have tested you, I mean, I don't know. It does stuff to your brain, and who knows what they were doing. But I mean, that's just not normal. And you knew that guy before. Yeah, you were young and naive, but there was something in there that you liked.
I mean, even sitting at the trial, you know, I remember specifically saying to the judges, like, or to the jury, like, that's my ex-husband right there. That man sitting there is him. I was like, this person that you're seeing on video, I do not know who this is. I have no idea. I have never seen this person before. You know, so for them to be able, you know, being a juror, you know, I don't know, maybe they've been touched by addiction, maybe they haven't, you know, and without having personal experience with it one way or another, it's hard for people to understand.
Right. And not that you're saying, oh, he should be forgiven for
absolutely not.
You know, just know that, hey, there is a soul in there that obviously, looking at the videos, watching, there is no soul there, and that's what drugs and addiction can do to you. And Chris, you know too. You know, like, you're not the same person. I'm not the same person.
No,
people have told us. We both really know it deep down.
Like our friend said, you know, she's like, that guy that I never met. I met this guy. I met this funny bullcrap ain't nothing guy. This guy right here. I never met that junkie, that piece of crap that you've talked to. When my boss Googled my name and pulled up the case and all that stuff, he said that the person that they painted you out to be, I haven't met that guy. Here's the keys to my truck. I need you to ride it. I need you to follow me so we're picking up the other one. So yeah, there's a different side to people, and this addiction, this mental illness, this whole thing.
So Queen,
yes,
how was it like during the trial? Because do you want to say what city this happened in, or no, or does it matter?
Yeah, I mean, the trial took place in Charlevoix.
I just want to see his face. Wow. Yeah. Not a lot of things like that happen in Charlevoix.
Mm-mm.
Not a lot of things happen up at Walloon Lake either, but that happened.
Yeah. So, how was it in the community? Was it crazy going to the grocery store? People always looking at you?
Listen, my life was not my life. My personal life was slashed all over the TV. Every piece of privacy I had, the media took and turned. I threw so many TV anchors off my property. I mean, here I am, a female, trying to protect my children. This horrific accident just happened that I still have a mess to clean up in my driveway. And they want to come and videotape my house? Like, how can you do that to somebody?
They don't care. They want to get the brass tacks. They want to get the
right.
story. They want to get their side of the story. They want to get your side. They want to get the side of the story that they're not even going to give the real side, because that's incredible.
Yeah. So, you know, your conversations are recorded, and the prosecutor's listening to it, and, you know, you meet with him, and he's like, well, you said this during the video or during this, and he's like, I could hear when your marriage started falling apart. And I'm like, you listened to all of my private conversations and you could tell the point where my marriage started falling apart? Like, how big of a privacy, and like everything, like, you know, there were speculations that I was like sleeping with his friend, and that's what caused him to do that. You know, there was speculations of my husband being a cross-dresser. You know, there was like so much, and I mean, I was terrified for my kids going to school. Like, luckily the police department, the Boyne City Police Department and the Charlevoix, you know, they're great. They were super helpful. They were watching out for my kids. Anytime because I had this car that kept driving around my house constantly. And we finally got the license plate number on the back of it, and I just called it in, and I was like, can you tell me who this is, please? Because they keep driving by the house and it's making me uncomfortable. And they did it, and they're like, it's just one of your nosy neighbors. You know, so the community embraced me and felt what I was going through, but on the same token, you had people that didn't know me that, you know, I completely shut my Facebook down. Like, I didn't want anything to do with anybody. And then you go through the trial, and every emotion that you could possibly imagine you're going through, and it's all on media, it's all being taped. So after the trial, before the trial, actually, I sold my house here in town, and I moved. I took my kids and I moved, because I wasn't going to have them exposed to being those kids.
Right.
So I gave them a better life someplace else.
That's wonderful.
That's good. You're remarried.
I have another kid with my husband, and
good job.
Yeah. And
how'd you do it?
Man.